The reason that I'm on the banned list, the reason I was linked up with murderers and terrorists is because some parties in the U.S. government, in my opinion, worked with the Media Matters Stalinists, took sound bites out of context, sent them to England and said to Jackie Smith, their pawn, put him on a list with murderers. In that way, we can start defaming all conservatives that we disagree with. You've heard of the politics of personal destruction in America. There's nothing new in that. I'm in radio, and I'm used to it. This took it to a new level, though. This is a whole new level. This is on the level of the Soviet Union, what they've done to me. But I don't think they expected you, the audience, to contribute so generously to the Savage Defense Fund. They didn't expect that I would get the largest law firm in England. They didn't know that when I went on the BBC, I would be so articulate and so, I don't know how to put it, the people liked me. When I went on the BBC, the people liked me. Opinion polls said 80-20 were running in my favor. Even political opponents said he shouldn't have been banned. They didn't expect any of that. And as a result of it, it was a PR disaster for the Obama administration and for the Home Secretary, who eventually had to resign. She was a pawn. She failed. They pushed her off the board. Now, what will happen next? I am not sure. I don't know. It's very hard to tell whether they're going to do the right thing and say, you know what, Savage, you're right. You don't belong with murderers. You don't belong with terrorists. We're sorry. We're taking your name off the list, and we're going to apologize to you. That's what you call a 100% clean bill of health. It still doesn't take away the damage they've done to me by linking me up with them, or the emotional cost of myself and my family, or the fact that I have 24/7 security. No, none of that has been altered, has it? So damage has been done. I'll be right back.
Don't make a difficult time tougher. If your inheritance is stuck in probate, we can advance you the cash you need in as little as 72 hours. Visit inheritancefunding.com or call 877-YOU-AIR. That's 877-YOU-HEIR.
These guys are so hilarious. I almost drive off the road every morning.
Armstrong and Getty. Weekday morning, 6 to 10. Talk 910 KNEW.
Secretary Jackie Smith has said that the reason you were banned is because the things that you say foment hatred, engaging people in spreading hatred as well. What do you say to the reasons behind the ban?
Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. There are millions of people who agree with me, not only in America but around the world. Now, you can take sound bites from an individual and turn them into anything you want. But if you actually listen to what I said about these things, it might be a different individual that you're hearing. I don't know which show Jackie heard or when she heard it, but I'm not broadcast in England. So obviously she was given some selected sound bites by individuals who detest my points of view and are trying to skewer me. That's not freedom of speech, nor is that fair. The issue is that in America, the First Amendment was written to protect offensive speech. We don't need a First Amendment to protect polite speech, do we? I mean, everyone engages in polite speech. What do we need protections for? It's speech which provokes thought that is considered offensive and hateful by those who disagree with you, isn't it? And so, therefore, it's only speech we're talking about, not the acts of murderers. And to lump me in with murderers is defaming me. It's libeling me.
Adam in Lancaster has texted whether you agree with this man or not. To place him on the same list as terrorists is farcical. Travis has loved to see a debate between the banned guy from the US and the Home Secretary. And Nick in London, American Talk Radio, is inherently more honest than its British counterpart, as it is open to all views and creates an environment of equal opportunity hate, where all views are aired and no one gets hurt.
I was shocked, angered. How in the world could I be linked with known murderers, people who have been put in prison for years for killing people, people who espouse the overthrow of your government, openly, when I am simply speaking, talking for 15 years on the radio, writing best-selling books? It was shocking to believe this is coming out of England, a country I've always loved and admired, specifically for its freedoms.
As a British Muslim, I detest what Mike Savage has to say, really, but I would gladly have Mike Savage in the UK. So I think specifically Mike Savage and some other people on the list as well are sort of token additions to counter, to make it look like it isn't just against these Muslims.
I remember the 1960s when true liberals used to say, I may disagree with you, but I would fight to the death your right to say it. When have you last heard a liberal say, oh, I may disagree with conservative talk radio, but I would fight to the death their right to say what they believe in? I don't hear that anymore. What instead I hear is they're threats to national security. That was stated on the congressional floor by Congressman Hinchy. He says, I'm a threat to national security, and he's trying to pass the so-called fairness doctrine to close down freedom of speech. Is that liberalism? Liberals used to say, I may disagree with you, Michael Savage, but I would fight to the death your right to say it. That's what this country has been about from the day it was founded. That's the trail of tears and the trail of blood that led to the freedoms that we enjoy in this country today. And we cannot permit a few small-minded martinets who don't even know that they're inhabiting the souls of dictatorships in Congress right now to deny us our freedom of speech. Where are the true good liberals? I want to define satire, ridicule, and sarcasm for those of you who love talk radio. Satire is the use of irony, sarcasm, ridicule, or the like in exposing, denouncing, or deriding vice, folly, etc. What is ridicule? We use it on talk radio all the time if we know how. It is speech or action intended to cause contemptuous laughter at a person or thing. Derision. Derision, my friends, is ridicule. That's part of freedom of speech. And finally, sarcasm should be used all the time if you know how to do it. What is sarcasm? Harsh or bitter derision or irony. A sharply ironical taunt, sneering or cutting remark, a review full of sarcasms. That's freedom of speech, my friends. When I offend doctrinaire knee-jerk Republicans, yes, I don't limit my criticism to the Democrats or the liberals. When I offend doctrinaire knee-jerk Republicans by pointing out that there are now more contractors than U.S. soldiers in Iraq, whose freedoms am I denying? The freedoms of the military-industrial complex to rob the public? The freedoms of the warmongers who refuse to either win definitively or leave? Eisenhower warned us, beware the military-industrial complex. I've played that on my show over and over again. Who am I criticizing, Democrats or Republicans? I'll let you decide. When I state that our Army and Marine heroes are being sent in to fight door to door and suffer and die, and then be given court-martials if they do their job a little too well, United States history, whose freedoms am I denying? Telling our generals how to conduct the war. Well, I wonder, is he not a politician telling generals how to conduct the war? No war has ever been conducted like this. And when I call illegal aliens invaders who must be forced to deport themselves, and I present the social and fiscal drain of this invading army of illegal aliens, whose freedoms am I denying? Who am I offending? The doctrinaire knee-jerk Republicans or the Democrats? Probably both. When I, Michael Savage, support my position for borders, language, and culture, do I deny my fellow citizens their rights to redress their grievances to a government all too eager to continue to flood our nation with cheap laborers? When I present the fact that 30% or 1 of 3 prisoners in federal lockups is an illegal alien who doesn't belong here to begin with, do I deny or do I grant my fellow U.S. citizens their right to speak freely through me, a talk show host? When I detail the epidemic of drunk driving and vehicular homicides being inflicted on this country by brazen illegal aliens who are deported only to return and drive drunk again, drive and kill again, I surely do not deny my fellow Americans their freedom of speech or their right to redress their grievances, do I? So whose rights am I offending? Certain special interests, I would assume. Well, that's not my problem. If these and other like opinions of mine were mine alone, I would not have risen to this position I now enjoy in the world of the spoken and written word. In fact, I am the voice of the voiceless, who have been marginalized and silenced by the illiberal liberals who control virtually all avenues of images and ideas that the world sees. All the images and ideas, with the limited exception of conservative talk radio, the most vulnerable medium, now under attack by the new National Socialists, who would ban free speech that they disagree with by threatening corporate sponsors through extortionist means of false boycotts, using different techniques, but wanting to achieve the same ends as all dictatorships, such as Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. That is total control of speech, which is the opposite of freedom of speech. In conclusion, I would like to introduce you to the most important critic that I have ever had, and his name is Teddy. Teddy, of course, is my constant companion, and just as in the RCA ad, I am not his master's voice, but I think he is my master's voice. Teddy, the most famous dog in American talk radio, but I think that Teddy is number one to me. Teddy, say goodbye to everybody at the Talkers Convention.
Roger Hedgecock coming up at 7.